Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Immigration Talk Show. I'm Nipasa, your host for today's session, and absolutely, I'm very happy to welcome you, friends. We are streaming live right now on YouTube, LinkedIn, X, and also you can check us out on Instagram. Our handle is at Immigration Talk Show, and on X, we are Immi Talk Show. So check us out and stay in touch with us by following us. And of course, don't forget to hit that bell icon here in YouTube so that you're always notified whenever we have live sessions like this one. So, before we head on with today's discussion, I have this important disclaimer to read out, and that is by watching our videos, you agree and understand that the information provided by our experts and attorneys, including comments and replies from users, is not legal advice. Use of information is at your own risk. So I hope that you keep that in mind, friends. And good thing is that you can also participate in this session, and you can do so by commenting wherever you're watching. Maybe you have questions or you actually want to get answers. We'll have our attorney join us very, very soon. And not just comment, you can also call in by dialing this number 425-436-6335, and the access code is 988-888. So the number is displayed on the screen above all the time. So yes, please feel free to call us and join us. So, yes, like I was saying, today's discussion, we are going to have our guest attorney join us, who makes it a point to join us very frequently. And yes, we're going to discuss on this topic that is displayed on the screen today. What should you expect from an FDNS site visit as an H-1B employer? We're going to discuss and go deeper into this topic of today. And to help us go through this and to get to know more about this, please help me welcome none other than Attorney Prashanthi Reddy from the law offices of Prashanthi Reddy. It's really great to have you back again, Prashanthi. Thank you for joining us.
It's good to be back. Thanks, Nipasa.
Yes, friends, you can check out Prashanthi Reddy. She is an immigration attorney, and friends, she has been practicing for almost 3 decades now, an expert in her field. And yes, you can also go and check out the previous webinars we've had with her. Very interesting topics we've already covered, and today as well is going to be a good one. So, yes, I think Prashanthi, maybe you could give us sort of an introduction to what people can expect from today's session.
Well, a lot of people are filing their H1s, a lot of companies. And while filing your H1s, you have to make sure that you are compliant and you're following the rules. Also, post filing, there are certain audits that are conducted, and those are the FDNS audits. So, we're going to be talking about what to expect in FDNS audit, what documents have to be submitted, why these cases are audited, when did these FDNS site visits start, some history, background, and also how to avoid these kind of FDNS audits. And even if you get them, because sometimes they can be random, what documents to submit so that the FDNS audit is successful. And it's
Absolutely.
very important to know this information, because if the FDNS audit takes place and if the officer is not satisfied with your response, then they can send a notice of intent to revoke an already approved H1. This always happens after the H1B is approved.
Yes, that's right. So we are going to have this very, very valuable information here today, friends, because we are going to discuss and touch upon various things that govern or, are what is happening right now, especially with, what was going on with this new administration as well. And, well, immigration, the raids and the frauds that are being, trying to, we are all trying to get rid of the fraudulent activities. So let's see what we've got to cover, friends. And very, very happy to tell you that you can keep commenting. Let us know if you have any questions. And Prashanthi, I have a question for you. For the first question is, can you explain what an FDNS site visit is and why USCIS conducts these checks, on H-1B employers?
Sure. So USCIS first announced something called FDNS site visits, um, commenced the FDNS audit H1B program in 2009. FDNS is the Office of Fraud Detection and National Security, and it's a short form for that is FDNS. And this is basically the program was started with the USCIS fee that you pay. Part of it goes into FDNS audits. And as I said, USCIS created this FDNS program in 2004, basically with a mission to detect, deter, and combat immigration benefit fraud, and also to strengthen USCIS efforts to ensure that the benefits are not granted to persons who, are a threat to national security and to public safety. FDNS is USCIS's primary conduit for information sharing and collaboration with other government agencies, including ICE. FDNS currently consists of a few hundred immigration officers, over 600 to 700 immigration officers. Um, and also, FDNS contracts with other private investigation firms, so they have also outside contractors to conduct these FDNS site visits. Um, so, how does the FDNS site visit work? Unlike many of the other site visits that USCIS conducts, H-1B site visits or FDNS site visits are mostly done unannounced. And the site visit may occur as the H-1B at the principal place of business or at the work location, or nowadays, since the work location is sometimes remote from at home, it could also be at the beneficiary's home. Uh, the employer may request that an immigration attorney be present during the site visit. However, FDNS officers don't typically reschedule an interview because there's no immigration attorney present. But FDNS has said that an attorney can be present over the phone. FDNS also has said that they don't need a subpoena to do a site visit. And also, as per the new H-1B regulations, you have to allow the FDNS officer into your office. And if you don't, based on that, they can send out a notice of intent to revoke. Before it was voluntary, now it is compulsory. So you have to allow them into your office. Um, so this is a little bit about FDNS and how it started. And usually during the interview, the FDNS officer will verify information in with reference to a specific immigration petition. So it could be one particular H-1B petition that they're looking at, but they could go into other petitions as well while they're looking at that one petition. And they normally have a copy of the petition, and they will usually issue request to speak with the employer's representative who signed the I-129 petition. Um, but however, because site visits are unannounced, so if the representation is not there, the representative who signed the petition is not there in the office, the officer will then speak to another employer's representative and will ask for specific information about the company, included but not limited to the business location, number of employees, may also ask to review the company's tax returns, the quarterly wage reports, or other company documentation that shows that the company is a bona fide business. Also, they want to make sure that the signature on the I-129 petition is genuine. Um, and, the officer will usually request detailed information about the non-immigrant, H-1B non-immigrant petition. That is the job title, job duties, work location, salary. The officer may also request a review to review the most recent pay stubs, will ask to look at the public access file, etc., etc.
Okay. That's very interesting. And thank you so much, Prashanthi, for the detailed explanation. Of course, every point is important, and I hope, friends, that you are taking notes as well. If you want to contact Attorney Prashanthi Reddy and have a one-on-one consultation for yourself, do go visit this link that is displayed on the screen. And also, I want to quickly say hello to random user 11. Thank you so much for joining us, and also Gotham. Well, I think we should quickly take them up as well. So he's saying, random user is saying, hi, is it suggested to do master's day one CPT or PhD day one CPT after exhausting STEM OPT?
You can if the school has a program within which they require you to do day one CPT. So, say they have an executive program where um, work experience goes hand in hand in with classroom study, and you get credits for that work experience. Then definitely, day one CPT may be justified. So it depends on the school and what program they offer.
Okay. All the best, random user 11. Thank you for joining us. If you have more questions, keep commenting. And best thing is, you can also join us on call. The numbers displayed on the screen above, 425 and they'll ask for an access code, and that's when you dial in 988-888. All right, so Gotham, stay with us. We will take up your question very soon. But now, Prashanti, I have another question for you. And if you could tell us, if these site visits are always unannounced, and what locations do officers typically visit? Just the company headquarters or also client sites?
So, as I said, these are unannounced. They don't have to announce that they're coming, but sometimes they will send an email, or if they can't reach you, or they will try to call. And the site visits could be at the work location, which could be the client site if the person is working at the client site, or could be the person's home if the person is working remotely from home, or it could be, and it might be in addition to the work location, also the company location, where the petitioner is located.
Okay. And you always have to be prepared for these site visits, friends. Or is there any way to maybe, not allow them to check in, Prashanti?
Well, going back, before I answer that question, to always be ready for site visits. It is possible sometimes that there's no one in the office, or they've gone for a lunch break, or something or the other has happened, or it's a holiday. Uh,
Hmm.
uh, the office is not has declared a holiday for some reason, and the officer comes and visits. And I've recently had a case in which the officer visited. I think it was a public holiday. I don't remember exactly, but there was no one in the office, and they basically USCIS, based on that, sent a notice of intent to revoke
Okay.
the case. And apparently the FDNS officer asked some neighbors as to whether of business is being conducted in the office, and the neighbor apparently said that no business is being conducted. So I'm not quite sure how the neighbor knows whether business is being conducted or not. But they can often be unreasonable and send out notices, and then maybe the case will get revoked if they don't find anyone in the office. So it's always
Okay.
important to have someone in the office, at least a receptionist,
Hmm.
um, so that they can greet these officers, and then send them to the right person.
Yes. Right. Thank you so much, Prashanti, for taking this up also. And now I have another one, and that is, maybe, since we have to be ready for all these site visits, what kind of documents do officers usually ask during these site visits, and who should ideally be responsible for providing these documents?
The officer will usually verify information, including supporting documents submitted with the petition, with the I-129 petition. They'll verify that the organization exists, and as I said, they'll look at tax returns, etc., to see that the organization exists. They'll review public records and information on the petitioning organization. So they might go to see if there's a website um, available, and go to that to see what the nature of business of the company is.
Mhm.
They, as I said, will conduct unannounced visits to where the beneficiary works, that is to the work site, and they might ask the client questions about the beneficiary's work. They will take photographs, they'll review documents. As I said, they'll interview employees to confirm that the beneficiary's work location, they'll confirm the work location, the physical workspace, the hours, salary, duties, etc. And they'll also conduct an interview with the beneficiary, not only with the client, with the petitioner, but also with the beneficiary, asking them the same questions with reference to where they work, what work they do, what is the work location, who is the client, give us the job description. They might ask for latest pay stubs, etc., etc. And if they're trying to look into, whether the beneficiary maintains status, they could also ask for pay stubs or W-2s for long duration of time, just to make sure, in case, when a H-1B extension is filed and approved, they want to make sure that the beneficiary maintains status for the previous term as well.
Yes, it's very important to maintain status, friends. No matter which position you are in, which visa you've come to the US to, but it's very important to maintain your status. And I hope that you know about your status as well. So keep a check on your documents very regularly, especially now. All right, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Our handle is at Immigration Talk Show, and also ring that bell so that you'll be notified whenever we have discussions like these.
I
So,
also wanted to add, Nipasa, that during the site visits, of course, they could ask the employer for information of previously filed H1s, as to how many H1s they filed previously, and to look at for the documents and the uh,
records.
records, etc., and also the public access files. And the officer may also request a tour of the employer's facility. And during the FDNS tour, the officer, as I said, may take photographs. Um, then they will normally request to interview, as I said, the beneficiary. And during this interview, the officer may ask the beneficiary about the job duties, responsibilities, employment date, position, location, what are the requirements for the position, what academic background the employee has, and whether that suits with the job that they're doing. Everything pretty much. Uh, Questions about dependents. Uh, Maybe they can also ask to speak to a colleague of the beneficiary or the
Okay.
beneficiary's manager to make sure that that is the duties that they're performing. And they can again ask for information about the beneficiary's title, duties, and requirements. So, after conducting all these interviews and gathering all the documents and receiving all the documents, the FDNS officer will complete the site visit and will. It takes about an hour, and then they will send the report to USCIS. And if it's a negative report, then USCIS will send a notice of intent to revoke.
Okay. There you go, friends. And thank you so much, Prashanthi, for that detailed explanation on this one. So I think we'll quickly take up Gautam's question since we've kept him waiting. So, hi, Gautam, once again. Thank you so much for joining us here on YouTube. So, he's asking if they interview the H-1B employee, what kind of questions should that person expect, and what happens if the employee gives slightly different answers from the petition? Also, I'm curious, how often do FDNS site visits happen for H-1B employers? And is there a pattern to who gets selected?
Shall we do one question at a time?
Sure.
So let's take up the first question first. If there's an interview, the HOB employees, what kind of questions should that person expect? I think I discussed that, touched upon it. They will ask questions about the person's job, their work location, their client location information, the requirements for the job, how they actually got the job, did they apply online or was it a referral? And they will ask questions from the employer as well, and maybe the client as well. And it is important that all the answers match I mean, obviously, the job description won't be exactly the same, but as long as overall the words may not be same, but as long as there's an overall match in the title, the type of duties that they do, it should be fine. It's always important, I think, for the beneficiary to uh, check with their employer as to what the employer has said and make sure that there is some kind of parity between what they said and what the response of the employee is. So it's important that it's not completely deviating from what the employer said. Slightly different should be okay. It depends on what you mean by slightly different, of course. But if it's just different words being used, or maybe the job description is being given in more detail, and the employer just gave a basic job description, it's fine to give more details as long as there's nothing that's conflicting.
Okay.
With reference to the next question from Gautam, how often do FDNS visits happen? In the lifetime of an employer, they can expect FDNS to get an FDNS site visit several times, definitely more than once, usually 1 in 10, maybe 1 in 15 applications. Um, they have a FDNS site visit. So they are quite common, if not, I can't say they happen often, but it is quite common, not unheard of. Is there a pattern to who gets selected? It is random usually. FDNS site visits are random, but sometimes there could be information that they have, derogatory information that USCIS has, which could prompt an FDNS site visit. But generally, FDNS site visits are random, excuse me, and they are conducted after the approval just to ensure that all the terms and conditions of the LCA and the approval are being met.
Thank you so much for taking that up, Prashanti, for Gotham. And Gotham, if you have resonated with all these answers, please do not forget to subscribe to our channel. Our handle is at Immigration Talk Show. And you can also check us out. We are not just here on YouTube, but also on LinkedIn, Facebook, X, and also on Instagram. And I would really like to tell friends out there that please share our content and share it with your friends or family who are going to benefit most from these content. Is free of cost and very important information that we share every day. And what better when we have attorneys join us. So here is attorney Prashanthi Reddy, and you can check her out on the link that is displayed. So yes, here's the link. And also now we have Yamini has another question for you, Prashanthi, and we'll take this up. It's asking, can we verify the identity and credentials of the FDNS officer conducting the site visit? And is this the legally allowed? Also, will this make it difficult for us to face the office?
No, it's absolutely necessary and prudent for you to check the credentials of the person that who is calling himself an FDNS officer, because it's important to know, take down the name of the officer, his rank, and take a card of the officer if possible. Because first of all, you have to make sure that you're not being scammed, and this some scamster is not coming into your office and asking for documents, right? And then you submit a lot of documents which are uh, you know um, documents which you may not want to divulge to strangers, such as tax returns.
Mhm.
So it's important to ensure that you have the proper credentials of the person before you allow them even into the office. And second, there are so many different kinds of officers that could do an audit, so it's important to know where the audit has come from, so that you can give that information to your um, to your attorney, and they will accordingly be able to respond to the audit, knowing um, who the audit is for, because every agency has a different purpose for conducting an audit. So if you know what the purpose is, it's easy to know how the response should be structured. So it's very important to get credentials.
Okay. Okay. So, what about the second part of it? Also, will this make it difficult for us to face the office?
No, that is your job. You have to do it. If you don't do it, then you might lose your job.
Okay, and that's for you, Yamini. Thank you so much for joining us with your question here on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Our handle is at Immigration Talk Show. Thank you, Prashanti. And to face the officer, there you go. Still, I think the answer is still the same, right?
Yeah.
All right. So thank you, Prashanti. And now we will move on to our questions. I have a couple more. So how important, is it for information shared during the visit to match what's the original H-1B petition, and what happens if there's a mismatch? I think we touched upon this also a little bit, but what happens if there's a mismatch?
So it's important. These are some of the do's and don'ts for FDNS site visit. Um, in order to, first of all, avoid a mismatch, you have to make sure that a copy of the entire petition is with your client, right? If you're an attorney. And that representative, if you're the employer, the representative who signed the I-129 petition should be given a copy of the entire petition and go through it. They should be, at all given points of time, be aware of what they're signing and what is in the petition. So if the representative lacks personal knowledge of any material fact, the employer should insist that that information be given to them, and so that it's accurate. If there is a site visit, they have to provide accurate information to the FDNS officer. If upon looking at the petition they find that there, or maybe the attorney did, or maybe the representative, or maybe the employer saw some information in the petition that was incorrect, then it is important that you file an amended petition to in order to correct the record. Um, so this will help if there is an FDNS site visit, to ensure that there's always correct information given to them, uh, and that you are um, paying the correct salary as per the LCA, that the work location is correct as per the LCA, and then if there's a site visit, you're not surprised unpleasantly that the FDNS officer discovers that the I-129 petition had a different work location and the beneficiary is actually working at a different location. So it's important that um, you know you do a proper audit of all the documentation on a regular basis, maybe a monthly basis, to make sure that nothing has changed after the filing of the petition for all your cases. Please be aware the most common problem that I see in an FDNS visit is the beneficiary is working from home, the beneficiary moves their home address, they don't notify anyone, the employer does not know. The FDNS officer goes to the old home address and doesn't find anyone there and issues a negative report to USCIS, and then USCIS then sends an intent revoke. This is a very common scenario, so you have to make sure you tell your employees that they notify you. Maybe they don't think it's important to notify you, but it's important because that's the work location, especially if that's the work location. It's important that they notify you because an amended petition might be required, and ULCA, a different wage might be required. So
And I think it's, yeah,
after the
sorry.
fact, then if you find that, back to your question, that there is some mismatch, then that is a problem, because after the fact there's not much that can be done other than informing the FDNS officer that it was an error and you are taking immediate steps to correct that error.
Right. Right, Prashanti. And I think it's very important to, submit the latest form and also the latest fee, and make sure that all your documents are right with all the dates and spelling and everything. I know sometimes it's a lot, but these are your information and you cannot afford to have any mismatch of any sort, even a slight one as well. So very important to, pay all attention to this. And best it is when you have your immigration attorney guide you on every steps, because they know best. So why not contact attorney Prashanthi Reddy as well, friends? And you can go check her out on this link, which is displayed on the screen, https bit.ly Prashanthi Law. So check her out. And yes, thank you, Prashanthi, for taking this up as well. So now we'll go on to our next question, and that is, Is it okay for an employer to ask the officer's ID or business card before providing access or answering questions?
I think we touched upon that before. Yes, you should verify uh, the credentials of the FDNS officer to make sure that they are who they say they are. And even after that has been done, you have to, I mean, yes, you can give them a tour, but it has to make sense, right? It has to be relevant to the FDNS site visit. If there's something that is not relevant to the visit and they're asking for some documents, or they want to look at some rooms which are not relevant to their visit, then you can always push back, because there is a right to privacy as well, based on the Fourth Amendment. So you can push back. So it has to be reasonable and it has to be relevant for their purpose.
Okay. Thank you, Prashanti. Thank you for taking this question up as well. And now I have this next question. If you can tell us, what steps can employers take beforehand, to make sure that they're fully prepared for an FDNS visit? And could mock interviews really help? We touched on this, but if you can tell us more, how to be really prepared for everything.
Yeah, so before the site visit, it's important to develop a staff protocol for these kind of site visits. So decide in your office who's going to meet with the FDNS officer, who's going to greet the FDNS officer, what documents should be required from the FDNS officer before they're allowed into the office. If the representative is not available, what should be done? Who should be contacted? Who's the next in command if the signator is not available? Where are all the documents kept so that they can be easily reviewed if the FDNS officer does visit? Remember, because these are unannounced, it's better to prepare this ahead of time. So, as I said, a point of contact, perform an internal audit to make sure that your H&L employees' job duties, work location, salary are consistent with the petition that you're filing with USCIS, that you've already filed, and that any or all public disclosure documents are uh, present in the office and are up to date. So, those internal audits are very important. It's also, as you were mentioning, a good thing to run a mock site visit to ensure that everyone knows what to do in case there's a real site visit. So, employers should be prepared to answer any questions regarding the company, regarding the employee's job, their duties, location, where the client is, etc., etc. So, all that information has to be available to the employer or the employer's representative.
Right, friends, and thank you so much, Prashanti, for taking this up, really. And I think it's always best to be prepared. And yes, you should know what you should be telling the officer whenever they visit you for this sort of an FDNS visit. So, yes, thank you, Prashanti, for giving us a few tips on that also.
I also
So,
want to add, Nipasa, that we also advise our clients not to speak with any government agent, whether it be an FDNS officer or DOL officer, USCIS officer, without a witness present.
mhm.
Because the witness and the uh, interview subject, whoever is being interviewed, should be debriefed as soon as possible by the attorney or whoever is taking care of your, audit or FDNS site visit response.
Okay,
Um, because they should keep take notes as to what questions were asked, what was answered, right? Because
right.
when there is a notice of intent to revoke, you should know word to word what the officer asked, what the response was, what documents were submitted, what
Mhm.
were asked for. Everything there has to be notes on it. So there has to be someone that's always present along with the uh, person who is responding to the audit, that is the employee representative or the beneficiary. And as I said, prepare notes of what transpired at the interview, and then submit them to the person who's taking care of the audit response.
Right, right. Yes, absolutely. I mean, I totally agree. I think the presence of another person, the third person, or the witness, as we call them, is very important. And if only we could record all of it on video, also. I don't know how much is that allowed. Is it allowed, Prashanti?
Not really. That would be suspect. So I would just, take notes.
All right. Thank you, Prashanti, for that as well, adding this important point. And also now for companies, with employees at third-party work sites, what should they communicate to the client in case an FDNS officer shows up there?
Again, you have to educate the client as well as to that this FDNS site visits happen sometimes, and if they do happen, you basically avoid coaching them, of course, because you can't coach them, but you can definitely tell them what to expect, what questions might be asked, um, and give them some tips on what needs to be done, and to tell them to take notes, like I just said, so that if the FDNS officer says something in their report that is untrue, you can immediately contradict them and say that as per the notes that is not true, right?
Right, right.
So the clients also should be trained on, but not coached, on what to do
Mhm.
if there is an FDNS site visit.
Okay. There you go. And thank you so much, Prashanti, once again for taking this question up. And I think we do have more questions. We will take them up from our Facebook groups and YouTube also. But for now, Prashanti, if you could also tell us, if an FDNS officer takes photos during a site visit, like you were saying earlier, is the employer allowed to ask what the photos are for or where will they be used?
Yes, they can definitely ask politely, and most probably the answer will be that they want to make sure that there is they can record the fact that there is that there is an actual business location, and that's what they're trying to see. They're trying to make sure that uh, there is a job location, there is a job offer, and that the employer has a bona fide business and has a bona fide business, commercial business location, and that's why they take pictures. But yes, you can definitely ask the officer what it'll be used for. Most probably, it'll be used for their report. That they inspected the office. If there is an office that exists, there's a workstation. They want to make sure there's a workstation for the beneficiary if one of the work locations is the employer's office. It could be that sometime in the past you might put for some other employee that the work location was the business premises, and that's why they're taking photos. So, yeah, I mean, definitely you can ask that question.
Okay. Thank you, Prashanti. And well, we have Nirav join us with another question here on YouTube. Hi, Nirav. Thank you for joining us. And yes, we will take up your question, but do subscribe to our channel if you haven't as yet already. Our handle is at Immigration Talk Show. So, Nirav is asking how might an FDNS site visit impact the employer's obligations under other laws, such as the LCA or the Employee Retirement Income Security Act?
Uh, I am not familiar of what the Employee Retirement Income Security Act is, so I will not answer that question since I don't
Yeah.
know. And it is also not within the gamut of immigration, so I'm not expected to know. But I will definitely look it up and I can answer it later as to how it affects it. But in general, FDNS site visits impact how they impact the employer's obligation under other laws. Under LCA laws, you're supposed to post your LCAs on the bulletin board. So they want to make sure where those posting sites are. You have to show them this is where we post, our documents which require posting. There are many documents that require posting, such as labor notices, LCAs. If you're filing green cards, then notice of job opportunities need to be posted. So you can show them where the bulletin board is. With reference to that, the officer might ask also where it is. And if you're not able to provide it, then that might be a negative remark. But in general, there might be some sensitive areas where you cannot allow the FTNS officer into those areas. It could
Mhm.
be your server room, or it could be other reasons why they're secure or sensitive. And you have
Mhm.
to explain to the FTNS officer that these are secure areas and why they're secure areas, and possibly suggest other less sensitive areas to conduct the interviews.
Mhm.
Um, Although employers should comply with reasonable requests from FTNS officers regarding examination of the employer's premises or work areas, I mean, the employer should explain if it has strict policies against tours or photographs in some, secure areas, because maybe they're implementing something and their client requires them to keep that area secure, right? So, I mean, any reasonable request should be accepted by an FDNS officer. So it's not necessary that um, every single area should be shown to the officer, and that under the right to privacy, as I was saying, um, you can bar the officer from going into certain areas, or bar the officer from looking at certain information, as long as you can give them a reasonable explanation as to why.
Mhm. Right. And I hope that you've taken notes, Neerav. Thank you for your question. I think we touched upon important points because of your question as well. So thank you so much. Also, thank you to Prashanthi, for, taking up this question from Neerav. We also have more questions actually from our Facebook group. So, Control, if you can please display them one after another, it'll be great. So, let's take up this first one from Ketan. Hi everyone, my H-1B interview is scheduled coming week, 6 March. This is done. I will be working at client location. It is an insurance domain. Do I have LCA copy? Is client letter mandatory? Client did not approve any such letter. If VO asks about client letter, how can tackle such questions? Any help is greatly appreciated.
Well, it's already over, but looks like, do you still want to answer it?
Yes, let's take it up. I think he has important questions. Like, is the client letter mandatory or
Right.
yes?
Could be useful to other people, though it may not be useful to this person.
Yeah.
Consular processing, um, I do have LCA copies. So you have to have a copy of your entire petition, number one. Client letter may not be mandatory, but you have to show some proof that the employer has a project for you. So if it's not client letter, then it could be a purchase order, it could be an MSA, it could be a letter from the vendor and a contract with the vendor. So if the VO asks for client letter, then you should say that maybe the client is not willing to give a letter, but you have other proof to show that you have a bona fide job offer.
Mhm. Okay. Absolutely. And thank you, Ketan. Thank you, Prashanthi, for taking this up. Let's go on to the next one. This is from an anonymous participant. Hi, all. Husband is a US citizen and filing both me and our baby. Do babies also need to submit Form I-693 and go through the medical exam? Also, we've delayed some vaccinations to space them out. Will they require us to give all missing vaccines right away to our baby? Thanks so much.
No, absolutely not. If you're not required to give those vaccines, you shouldn't. For sure, nobody wants to jeopardize the health of your baby. Uh, and with reference to medicals, everybody who applies for um, a green card has to submit medicals. Uh, but I will get back to you on that before the end of the show, just to let you know if there is a certain age limit. I don't think there is, but I will reconfirm and get back to you.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Prashanthi, for taking this up. And now let's go on to this next one. This is also from an anonymous participant. Hi, everyone. Has anyone here ever tried to petition their parent to adjust their status after 90 days on a tourist visa? If so, how long did the process take? And do you think this is the right time to do it, or is it better to wait? Any insights or experiences would be greatly appreciated. Thanks in advance.
I just looked up the previous question, and yeah, it looks like medical exams are uh, not optional. They are compulsory for everyone. But of course, baby may not be able to take some vaccinations, so uh, the doctor will not give it to them, and the officer will not ask. And if it's required, then the doctor can give a letter stating why certain vaccinations were not given. So that should not be an issue at all. Let's go to the next question.
Sure, Prashanti. The next question is this one. So,
Hi
if
everyone. Has
yeah,
anyone ever tried to petition their parent to adjust their status after 90 days on a tourist visa? So, how long does the process take? Do you think that it is the right time to do it, or is it better to wait? Yeah. So, here they're talking about filing immigrant petition for their parents. They are U.S. citizens. The children are U.S. citizens. Usually, you know, you don't want to file an immigrant petition for someone who's come on a B2 as soon as they come in. So it's prudent usually to wait for 90 days, and that's what they're referring to, even though that 90 days is not a rule anymore, but it's still prudent to wait for some time uh, for filing it in order to, um, in order for them to overcome the intent issue. Because when you enter on a B2, you're saying that you don't intend to immigrate to the US. So if you immediately file for an immigrant petition, that could be problematic. So what we usually do is wait for 90 days or more and then file for the I-130 and 485. And so far, we have not had a pushback with USCIS. We've filed several petitions in the same way. So that's what I can tell you from my experience.
thank you, Prashanti, for taking that up. And let's go on to our next question now. Control. So this is also from an anonymous participant. I've initiated for my I-120 and I'm showing my maternity uncle as my sponsor for my remaining deficit. My question is that going to be an issue while facing the visa officer? I've seen people saying in this group that they don't approve visa if it's not your mother or father. Please let me know.
I've initiated for my I-20 and I'm showing my maternal uncle as my sponsor for my for the money that he needs, I guess. Um, so you have to convince the officer that you have sufficient funds available to pay for your tuition fee and for your living expenses. Um, and if that usually you have to show money in the bank, but you can also submit affidavit of support. And if the affidavit of support is given by, it can be given by anyone, and it can be given by your uncle as well. But the best option is to show money in the bank and to show that that is available, has been available, not just deposited. So source of funds may be important as well. So money in the bank is better than an affidavit of support. But in addition to the money in the bank, if you're submitting an affidavit of support, as long as they're signing it, because it's a sworn statement, it can be from anyone in the family or your friend. It does not have to be from your parents, but sometimes it's all about perception, and consular officers can deny visas for any reason. And if they think that it's not believable that these funds are available, they can deny it on that basis.
That's interesting. Thank you, Prashanti, for taking that up and for warning us about that as well. So this is the next one, also from an anonymous participant. I'm active duty and trying to get my mom citizenship or residency. Her mom is terminally ill. Is there any way to expedite it? My mom, and then her mom. I'm not
Yeah,
very sure.
yeah. It's not clear as to what the question is. An active duty meaning what, you're in the army, so you can get a green card, but I don't know how your mom can get a green card unless you're a U.S. citizen. And the fact that she is ill, does you cannot expedite it based on that. Uh, so yeah, there's a lot of unknowns in this question.
Yes, I think we need some more clarity on the question itself. But thank you, Prashanthi, for attempting. And well, anonymous participant, I wish we could help you with better answers. But yes, more details, please. Next one, let's go on. Hi, everyone. I wanted to get your opinion on something important. My wife moved to the US this February on an F1 visa to start her master's degree, and she's doing really well. The thing is, she's now 8 months pregnant, and I am planning to apply for an F2 dependent visa to join her and support her during this time. My visa interview is on May 10th. We have good financial support, and I'm planning to mention her pregnancy during the interview to explain why I want to be with her now. Do you think it's a good idea? Would that help my case make it more complicated? Would really appreciate any thoughts.
My wife moved to the US on F1. She's doing well. The thing is, she's now pregnant and planning to apply for F2. Uh, Good financial planning to mention. I mean, there's no, yeah, I mean, if you can mention her being pregnant as a reason to go join her, but you don't really need a reason to go join her. And F2 is available for immediate family members, so it's understandable, and that families should stay together, and that is a priority for the U.S. immigration law to keep families together as far as they can. That's why they offer dependent visas. So while it's not necessary that you give that as a reason, it might be a good reason to give to show the urgency of the situation, and I don't think it'll have any repercussions.
Okay. Thank you, Prashanti. And let's go on to this next one. If you can zoom in a bit, control, it'll be helpful. Need advice regarding DS 160, just arrival date change. Hi, everyone. I need a bit of guidance. I've already submitted my DS 160 and scheduled my visa appointment. The DS 160 confirmation number matches perfectly with the one on my appointment confirmation page, and everything else is correct: university name, CVIS ID, program, etc. However, I need to update only the intended arrival date on the DS 160. Do I need to submit a new DS 160 just to change the arrival date, or can I simply mention this change verbally at the embassy during my interview? Do I need to write a case file regarding this on portal?
I think if it's a minor change, you can just mention that to the officer. I don't think there's any need to file a new DS 160.
Okay. Thank you, Prashanti, for taking this up. And let's go on to our next one. Oh, we have completed. Thank you. But I do have more questions, Prashanti, if you're still up for it. A couple more questions.
Sure, we'll take one more question because we're already beyond the time.
Okay, sure. So my question for you is, let's say an FDNS officer interviews an H-1B employee who, mistakenly gives a different job title than what's in the petition. What could be the consequences, and how should the employer handle that?
This will lead the FDNS officer to doubt the veracity of the job because two different people are saying two different things. So the FDNS officer has to be convinced that it was a mistake.
Mhm.
That's why you should avoid doing that. The employee should have a copy of the entire petition. I understand that sometimes um, the job given by the client might be different. The job title is given by the client is different from the job title given on the H1. But what is important is the job description because the titles can often differ and the duties can be exactly the same. So you
Mhm.
can reconcile it in that way by saying that the duties are the same. It's just that the title at the client side is different, and therefore the employee gave that the title at the client side and not the title on the H-1B petition. So as long as you can prove that the duties are the same, it should be okay, even if the job title is different.
Okay. Thank you, Prashanti, for taking that up. And do you have any case you want to share with us, maybe that you have dealt with anything to deal with all these FDNS, or any client you had to go represent during a site visit?
Well, there are a lot of these that happen. They happen routinely.
Yes.
And usually they will send out an email um, after the client site visit or before the site visit, asking for the complete organizational chart of the company. They'll ask to provide a list of all full-time, part-time employees. I'm just giving you actually a list of documents that they asked in a recent case. They asked
Okay.
for the org chart. They asked for a list of all the employees, part-time, full-time, including
Mhm.
their names, date of birth, immigration status, salary, site, work location. They asked for contracts between the company and their current clients. They asked for the beneficiary's driver's license, the most recent performance appraisal, 3 pay stubs, 3 months pay stubs, and a resume that was submitted by the beneficiary when they applied for the job. So these are the documents that were asked, and of course, we provided all the documents, and uh, the site visit was successful. At least there was no revocation, which means that it was successful. Um, in another case, they asked for again the number of employees. They asked how many current H1s are 100% remote, so how many are not working at the petitioner site.
Mhm.
What is the purpose of employing the beneficiary? So they want to make sure that it's a bona fide job offer. They asked for a detailed list of duties, the working hours, uh, the remote work address. If the beneficiary maintains a residence in another state, they want to make sure again that the work location is bona fide, because if the person is in a different state, then how is he commuting every day to this work location, right? They're trying to
Mhm.
dig deeper and find out information. Does the beneficiary work for any other business or organization? They want to make sure he's maintaining status. Who is the manager or supervisor at the work location? They want the point of contact at the client site, the rate of pay, and the uh, current title. So this is another example of what they can ask at an FDNS visit.
Okay. Very interesting, and a lot of things actually. So there's a lot to be prepared about, friends. And if you have any confusion or you do want to consult with an attorney, why not check out attorney Prashanthi Reddy herself? And you can do that by checking out this link which is displayed on the screen. Go check her out. And I think, yes, Prashanthi, thank you so much for joining us today. I won't hold you much longer, but it was a great session, so much information and very, very insightful. So thank you for your time and thank you for answering all of our questions so patiently.
Thank you.
Have a great day and see you soon. So, yes, friends, thank you so much also for joining us. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Our handle is at Immigration Talk Show. And check us out not just here on YouTube, but also on LinkedIn, Facebook, X, and on Instagram. So connect with us and stay in touch with us, and also hit that bell icon so that whenever we have discussions like these, you are notified. And yes, we do have daily immigration dose coming up later at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. So watch out our space even that time, but also keep checking because we have a lot of important updates that you don't want to miss out on. So thank you once again. And you can also email me. By the way, my email address is nipa@staffingly.com in case you have any questions you want me to direct to the attorneys who join us. Or you can WhatsApp me. This is also my WhatsApp number. You can call me on this number as well. My number is 408-335-6444. Thank you. And bye for now, but stay tuned on Immigration Talk Show.